crux of the matter. When it comes time to come back in and unload this thing, it's not as forgiving as when you're loading the sample. So let's assume deposition has happened. It's time for me to go and unload my sample. I'm going to now do a little bit of a trick, and I want you to see what that looks like from a specific angle. When it's time to unload from here, you can pre-align the substrate receptacle to the paddle by doing the following. Drive the substrate stage all the way down to the unload position, and remember that your paddle must be in either the safety zone or still all the way in the load lock. You mustn't try to descend the tower with the paddle fully extended until you're aligned, or that's going to bend the arm. So, just for safety, let's get our paddle completely out of the way. And now I'm going to bring this tower all the way down to my unload position. You can see that, oh, gotta close the door, genius. Sorry, still too smart for me. So now I'm going to bring the tower all the way down to the lowest position, that is the unload drop-off position. Right there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the front edge of the paddle to align this box. So if I bring my paddle back into the chamber, what you can see from this end is that when I bring my paddle in closer and closer and closer, I may or may not be in perfect alignment. That actually looks quite good, so I'm going to exaggerate it to make it even worse. So let's assume that through the chamber port in the door, you see that the substrate receptacle is basically facing that way, and you see that you have this little plus sign right out here. That doesn't mean you're ready to unload the sample, because there's an angular offset between the orientation of the paddle and the orientation of the substrate receptacle. And you can see that most clearly by looking from this angle down here. So can you see the gap that you have right here? This is a problem because the substrate holder isn't going to seat on the paddle. At best, it will be sort of loose and prone to fall onto my precious instrument. At worst, it will actually generate a situation where you bend the transfer arm. So in this case, what we're looking at is a situation where we have a misalignment, and this is how you fix it. So with the tower all the way down in this position, you're going to come into the chamber and gently tap, tap, tap the actual substrate holder with the paddle. And if you tap that several times, I did that maybe 5 or 6 times, what you'll see is that those two faces have now mated up to one another, which means that I'm now perfectly aligned. If I now back up my paddle, we're going to raise the tower and drive back in, we're going to see the unload process.